But that's the thing too, Frank, is that like people will message me, as I'm sure they do to you, like people will message me on Twitter or whatever and be like, you got to do a Trump, you got to do a Gruden, you got to do a Jim Rome. I'm like, Gruden and Rome are Frank. That's your bread and butter. Like, I'm not hopping on those two, you know?
Yeah, and
So
it's a weird thing where you try to give that little bit, and Joey's really great about that too, which is another thing I like. So many people just steal on the internet, like they watch you do an impression and then they copy it, and that's a real. That's just what it is. And now people just show other people how to do impressions on their TikTok feeds in between, you know, and Trump. You know, it's so you're watching that and you're going, well, you're kind of unlocking it for everybody, and then it makes, which is fine, but then everybody's doing it, and it's just kind of, you just kind of go, well, there's nothing interesting about this anymore, and you go away from it.
What's the word for Madden? By the way, the Madden Summerall stuff that you have been doing, Frank.
So good.
So friggin' funny, including the one where the guy was getting his ass cleaned out by a fire hydrant and used the word bidet. Literally had to stop what I was doing. I literally had to stop. Just hearing
I didn't even
Madden say the word bidet.
Bidet. That was the word that I keyed in on for Madden. Bidet. Because you know I was over in France, in those European countries. This was before the coronavirus thing. And, 50, 60 years ago, we would get, you get there and there's one of those, it's like, hey, that's a nice toilet. And then, boom, it's a Bellagio fountain. So I don't like to do, like, you always have me do the Madden thing and stuff. I don't love, somebody says, do some John Madden. I was like, I've done it for so long. I don't really love doing it on camera because it is so old.
Right.
But for some reason with the voiceovers, I was just like, this is kind of like its own thing. And then you had the Pat Summerall along with John Madden. John, have you tried this bidet, Pat? You bet I have, John. Had to bring in that ambulance from Madden 86.
Have I ever told you the story that CBS Sports told me when I took the job for the U.S. Open? Did I ever tell that story? Brockman knows it very well.
Oh, I know it. It's my favorite.
So when I took a job doing the late night highlights show for the U.S. Open after I left SportsCenter. NFL Network hired me, and then CBS called me when I was on my honeymoon to see would I do the late night show that they shoehorned in between Letterman and Kilborn to date the era. Okay,
Kilby, right. Yeah, you gotta love me.
I don't know. You
did one.
You did Kilborn?
Hey, Eisen, you'll get to your story, but first, breaking news. I love myself. Back to you.
He's a must follow on Instagram, by the way. Big one.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Just the most eccentric, interesting Instagram feed out ever.
Agreed, Joey. You got to try. You got to check it out. It's Mr. Craig Kilborn. We had him on for a full hour. Went back in September, right, Chris?
Yeah, September.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, to celebrate the ESPN anniversary that neither of us were invited to celebrate. At any rate,
hey, Eisen, I don't want to be a party pooper, but get back to the story.
So the story is this. The story is this. I get the job, and they tell me, the rules of doing tennis because a couple of matches I was going to call, and they said two things: is shut up during the action, and read the card we give you when there's something for you to promote or read for the sponsor on the air. And I'm like, that's basic stuff. They're like, trust me, there's an issue sometimes. And I'm like, with who? And they said, well, when Summerall used to do the tennis, you remember it was Pat used to do US Open tennis. Pat, they would hand him the copy that you would read for the Goodyear blimp. Hey, in its 50th year, the Goodyear blimp is over Manhattan and it looks beautiful, and Goodyear, the tires are the best, whatever it is. And they're like supposed to read it. And I'm like, he didn't do it. And they're like, well, sometimes Pat would get lost and maybe, had a little bit of that. And so it would be the shot of the New York skyline and he has to read all the copy. And all you hear is Manhattan. And that's it.
There it is.
So I got to do my play-by-play. They're like, okay, grab card 43. It's the Goodyear blimp shot. They show a shot of the skyline, and all I go is Manhattan. Manhattan. And they screamed curse words in my headset. Read the effing card. You're like, oh my God. There's my story. Summerall is just the all-time greatest when it comes to that.
Well, that old bit was that he never, and it fits like with that Manhattan thing, he didn't speak in sentences.
Yes.
It was just phrases. To the 20, to the 25. There's a man down.
And then he would pronounce the comma in Murder, She Wrote by pausing a very long time.
Murder, She Wrote.
That's right. Oh man.
By the way, there was on an NFL Network last night or the night before. People now text me or message me on Twitter and stuff when there's an old NFL game on, and it was Madden and Summerall doing Patriots Rams, and it was classic Pat Summerall because younger people who hadn't really paid attention to that much were tweeting at me, and it was Warner, Holt, out of bounds. That was his play-by-play.